Hey tubies, so it is 7 o'clock in the morning. Baby girl is asleep. Fingers crossed that she's still asleep. And Christmas is coming up, so that means I am going to be crazy busy doing absolutely all sorts of different things. Instead of the chocolate calendars for Christmas, we're doing books instead. I have to get those wrapped yet. I got like 3 days until I gotta start putting them out. So crazy busy for me. Hubby just left for his surgery, so I'm with her all day today. He probably won't be feeling too well tomorrow either. He's getting his wisdom teeth extracted, but they've kind of woven into his jaw, so he's probably gonna have to get his jaw reshaped as well. So it's just gonna be an ugly, nasty surgery. So I'm gonna do all the YouTube Pagan challenge questions that are left, and hopefully I can get them done quickly. I haven't looked at them in ages, so hopefully my thoughts are together enough that I can do this. So, do you believe in chakras, auras, and energetic fields? I do, absolutely. Places just give off this energy. People give off the energy. As an empath, I had no idea how to deal with it at school, like at all. As an example, I was the only girl in my class, so like in my grade class, so I completely rejected all things feminine. I was a human rag to one of my sister's friends. She was a grade below me. I was basically a human rag. If her hands got dirty, she'd come and use me as a rag. People bullied me about gonna become a guy but being transgender when I'm not. I just had no idea how to deal with it, and it was an ugly part of my life. So but even places give off energetic fields. There's a house here, and now it's a house. It's amazing. It was a morgue, and it is a haunted morgue. The woman who used to be here, the White Raven, I absolutely recommend her. Find her online for her stuff. She's like phenomenal. But basically they turned to her because they were having all of these different weird things happen in their house. She gave them a bunch of crystals to create a crystal grid in their home, but it's still there outside their house. The house looks almost deserted, even though that you know it's not. There's vehicles in the driveway. And it's just really bleak and dark and ugly. So I absolutely believe in those sorts of things. They exist, whether we want them to or not. What does enlightenment mean to you? I guess for me, enlightenment is just wholeness and oneness with the god and goddess and their balancing energies, and having that balanced in you and being able to be wise enough to know when to put your input and know your craft really well. I know that that's probably different than a lot of people's, but you know, the idea of being whole and comfortable with yourself and having all of the energies balanced within yourself is just a really great idea to me. What does shadow and darkness mean to you? It doesn't mean too much, actually. It used to mean quite a bit to me, as I would prefer darkness. But anyway, I do shadow work every now and then, so I guess it just is a type of work that you do. I don't necessarily believe in dark magic. I don't believe you should run around hexing everybody. But I do know that in nature, if there's, you know, sometimes you gotta kill in order to eat. So I do sort of understand that things have to be balanced. So that's not necessarily dark magic, but I don't know. I see it as just maybe everything that you kind of sweep under the rug and just leave covered. That's sort of the shadow and the dark that I think about. Do you believe in angels, demons, and fairies, etc.? I do. I have fairies kind of sprinkled all around my house. Well, little figurines anyway. And for me, I'm still trying to figure out what I think of angels and demons. So far I've decided that they're thought forms. People can put energy into them and they can exist. But when I became pagan, I sort of just threw all that stuff away. I didn't want to focus on it. It was like, yeah, whatever, you Christians keep your idea of angels and demons and your idea of what I'm worshiping to yourself, and I'm gonna figure out myself. So I'm still sort of adjusting to the idea with them, and figuring out the AR for myself. As for fairies, I think that they're just curious little spirits that either can bless you or make your life a living hell. You know, it's like when I played pool at my grandmother's house, because she's got a big pool table. You know, we always talk about the leprechauns not letting, you know, the balls go in. So I think, I don't know, they're fun to play around with and to just start to talk about. But yeah, I don't know really how to answer that question. I should have come up with a better thing. I should have read these before. Do you believe in an afterlife or reincarnation? I believe when my father passed away, I told myself that he's in a phenomenal place where he can go hunting and skidooing and fishing and doing all the stuff that he absolutely loves. And I believe that for a while we go, when we die, we stay sort of in the afterlife, if you will, for a while before becoming reincarnated again. We have to wait, you know, for when it's time for us to go back. And I think it's sort of like a healing process. While you're there, you become sort of like, you heal all the different aspects of yourself, and then you get to come in again as a completely new, brand new individual. Completely brand new individual who, you know, gets to experience life and has to go through all the different traumas that there can be in childhood and whatnot, and become a different person. So that's personally what I believe. Do you work with ancestors? Yes, all the time. I do not work with the deceased, but I do work with my ancestors a lot, even when I don't want to. If I'm laying there in bed and I'm about to fall asleep, I'll like feel ancestors like call out to me, or a group of ancestors. You know, if they don't really have names or anything, I will feel them sort of pull at me to take me in a direction. So that's sort of how I feel about that. What has been most influential on my path? Probably the struggle. You know, I grew up in a Christian household. You gotta struggle when you're in there, when you can't have a set altar, when you can't do different things, when you can't read books, when you can't go and buy a book because you think that, you know, it could be beneficial to you. I know that even with all the struggle and stuff, my mom always, she didn't support how unnecessarily I would be using them, but she did support my longing to learn about herbs and different plants that have different properties and so on. So yeah. What are your favorite pagan and spiritual books? That one's a good one. Probably Scott Cunningham is way up there. My husband does own the Silver Raven Wolf's Complete Book of Shadows. I've kind of peeked through it, but I don't really care for it as much as Scott Cunningham. So yeah, we don't actually have that many books or anything. We just sort of take from different sources, and you know, if I were to go out tomorrow and be looking at pagan books and Wiccan books and spiritual books, and something were to call out to me, I would buy it and I would look at it. But as it is right now, Scott Cunningham is really the only guy that I read. So how do you talk to non-pagans about paganism? I do not talk to other people about my spiritual practice. That's what you guys are for. In my family, we've got a lot of different things, different ideas that are very contradicting to my ideas and my beliefs. And though I will put my nose in every so often to different things, I tend to avoid the topic of spirituality. My grandma, when I first decided to become Wiccan, went out and bought Silver Ravenwolf's book to read it, because she wanted to understand what was drawing me and understanding about it. So she did that. But there are still a lot of things that are just sort of not topics for people in my family, and I kind of feel like I don't really talk to anybody that's not pagan. People here that I know, my mother-in-law grew up Catholic, is basically pagan. And that a person I know through her, she's actually taking a course to become a priestess, so she's really cool. But it's never like I'm not talking to somebody who's pagan. I don't bring it up unless somebody would really want to know about it. So yeah, choose your battles. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. Have you ever experienced spiritual doubt or hesitation? I think the only time I've ever experienced spiritual doubt, like real doubt, and you know, like something just is completely off, is while I was trying to fit in with my Christian family and be Christian and live that lifestyle that they have as an ideal lifestyle. I second guess everything and I question things quite a bit, but I think that that's just a good idea to keep in your practice, to go, okay, why, you know, why this or why that, and what do I think of this, and okay, what's some holes that somebody could punch into it. When I was going to that Christian school, our teacher would always play devil's advocate, and I always felt like I shouldn't play, you know, there's somebody that's for God, I should play devil's advocate. I tend to punch holes in absolutely everything, and I think that that's really, it's one of my strong suits, is that I can punch holes in it and I can really sort of see through the fog and really analyze it. What is most appealing and fulfilling in paganism? I think it's just the idea that we're earth-based. Whether or not you might consider yourself a starseed, you're on this planet for a reason, and we should maybe take care of that and learn about different things that are here on this planet. My sister's big thing is fairies don't exist, but mermaids have not been proven to not exist yet because we haven't explored our ocean. So that's a little bit of a weird argument. Sort of a sidetrack, sorry. I don't know, I find it just very fulfilling in the way that it feels correct for me. If somebody was practicing and they didn't feel that it was, that they had found like a missing part and that part was there, and you know, then I really wouldn't want them to stay within the practice. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on that. How do you avoid stagnation? I don't avoid it. I embrace it because it means that something major has to change. As an example, if I feel very stagnated and very just sort of in a slump, then I sort of sit down and I think, okay, well, what haven't I done in a while? And maybe I will pick a book off the shelf and I'll just open it up and start reading a random chapter. And I find that I'm very in tune with the different seasons. So during the winter time, I tend to get a little bit of stagnation. And then as soon as springtime comes around, it's like I am pulling all my books off the shelf. I am finding out all those sorts of different plants. I'm trying to figure out what I want in my garden. And I don't know, I feel like when I get that feeling, it's actually really good, because it means that something big is coming, something exciting is about to happen, that there's going to be a change within myself and within my surroundings, and it's going to be fabulous when it happens. So I recommend people not try to fight that. Don't fight it. If you feel stagnated, sit down and say, okay, well, in what way am I stagnated? Am I stagnated in my day-to-day life with the chores? Am I stagnated in my, with, you know, I just kind of do the same thing over and over again when I cast a circle? Am I stagnated in the way that I need to bring something into my home, like a plant or a crystal or something into my home to help reignite that, to teach me something? Don't fight it. Just don't. What advice can you give to new pagans? Oh dear. Well, the first piece of advice is you don't need tools. For me, I literally had, when I started off, thankfully I had a green candle that somebody had given me and a blue candle. They were scented candles. They were just little tea lights that I had gotten at somebody's birthday or at some sort of party or whatever, and that's literally all they were. I think my mom had a red candle and I brought that down to my room, and that's literally all I had. And I sort of set it up so that one was on my bookshelf facing west, one was on my desk over on the south, one was in my windowsill which was faced east, you know, and then one by the bed so that we had north. And you know, you really don't need any tools. You can take just simple tea lights and, you know, carve in there a flame or waves. You really don't need anything to start out with tool-wise. And if it is not safe for you to continue, if you feel that it may not be the smartest move right now, listen to that little voice that's telling you to wait. Also, the advice I was given when I first started was study it for a year and a day. Do not practice. Do not start calling things up that you may not be able to handle. Just study it, learn the different things in life. She woke up. But learn the different things, learn about all the different aspects. There's quite a few. You're gonna feel overwhelmed. But just study it, and just for a year and a day, nothing but study, and really dive into different meanings and question absolutely everything. Because I know a lot of people who, you know, especially as a young person, when I shifted, the stigma around me, and I was 15 at the time, was that it was a phase, that it was just some sort of thing I was going through and I was gonna put it down. And a priestess actually told me, study for a year and a day. Just study it. You don't gotta cast a circle, you don't gotta burn incense, you don't gotta do anything, but just study, look, observe. You know, if you want to do a chakra clear, do your chakras. If you want to just practice with a simple focusing on all the chakras, closing them down, you know, that's fine. That's what you need to do. Because especially if you're in your teens, there's the idea that you're not, that it's just a phase for you, that you're not actually gonna stick with it. So studying it for that time without practicing proves that you are committed to doing this. So that's my advice. And hopefully I can get through the last of these before she comes running down that hall. What have you learned this year? What are your spiritual pagan goals for next year? This year I learned just to go with it. You know, I had a daughter who wanted to do gardening with me, and I learned just to go with it. It doesn't matter if you got dandelions or not in your yard, you know, they're basically little wishes for small people. My goals for next year are to plant more plants in my garden. We're gonna see what happens. My pansies went to seed 4 times. 4 times. I have no idea if they're coming back or not, but they went to seed 4 times. I don't even know what's going on. And my mint right now, it's got a little bit of damage now. Thankfully, it's finally dying, but it's still green. But it's sitting there like winter's not even a thing right now. But I guess my big goals for next year are to be able to actually do my meditations again. I guess that one would be a really big one. I tend to go out of body very quickly, and I used to try to do my meditations and stuff while my daughter was napping, but every time I would start to go out of body, she would, like, she knew, basically. Kids know. Kids just know. But I'd start to go out of body and she would freak out because she wanted me here. So I'm hoping that within this next year, you know, she's gonna be turning 2 next year, that you know, she can go off and play with her daddy or whatever, and I can do a meditation and just relax and do my thing. So that's my big one for next year. Thank you guys for watching. This is like a stupidly long video and I apologize, but I need to get all this stuff done. Hopefully I can find time to upload it today. It's 7:30. Wow. But hopefully I can find time to upload it today, and baby girl will allow me to do that. She sees the camera and she wants to play and video stuff, and I always try to want to let her do that when she can, and she always messes with the computer when I'm uploading, so she rewrites code, I swear to God. But anyway, thanks for watching and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.